So let me ask you something right at the start. Have you ever wondered how attackers manage to break into systems that are supposedly secure without even brute forcing anything? Or how some breaches happen not because systems are weak, but because something was simply forgotten? Because today, we are not talking about basic hacking. We are diving into the hidden layers of cyber exploitation, where mistakes, forgotten systems, and trust itself become the attack surface. And trust me, once you understand this, you will never look at systems the same way again. In this video, we are going to break down 5 powerful and often overlooked advanced hacking techniques that quietly exist in real-world systems. We will explore hidden admin panels, where forgotten or exposed admin portals become entry points for attackers. We will look at ghost accounts, those old inactive user accounts that silently remain inside systems and can be misused. We will dive into click fraud malware, where bots generate fake ad clicks and manipulate digital advertising ecosystems. We will uncover fake file extensions, a simple yet highly effective trick used to disguise malicious files as harmless ones. And finally, we will examine malicious Chrome extensions, where seemingly useful browser tools can turn into spyware hiding in plain sight. Welcome to Bluehat Cybersec Academy. Now let's begin by talking about something that sounds simple, but is surprisingly dangerous in real-world systems: hidden admin panels. Most web applications contain administrative dashboards. These are used to manage users, data, settings, and system configurations. But here's the problem. In poorly secured systems, these admin panels are sometimes left exposed or simply forgotten. And in real-world scenarios, attackers often look for exactly that kind of oversight. They search for old admin portals that were never removed after updates. They look for development or staging panels that accidentally went live in production. They try weak authentication systems, sometimes even default credentials that were never changed. And in some cases, they simply find searchable endpoints exposed due to misconfiguration. Now, if an attacker discovers one of these hidden or exposed admin interfaces, the impact can be severe. They may gain full database access, control over user accounts, the ability to manipulate system data, or even complete server configuration control. That's why defensive practices become extremely important here. Organizations should remove or strictly restrict unused admin portals, enforce multi-factor authentication or MFA, use IP whitelisting for admin-only routes, continuously monitor logs for unusual access patterns, and regularly conduct authorized penetration testing. So remember this clearly. The danger is not the admin panel itself. It is forgetting that it still exists. Now moving to the next concept, let's talk about something even more silent, something that most systems completely overlook: ghost accounts. Ghost accounts are old, inactive user accounts that still exist inside a system but are no longer actively used or monitored, and these usually exist for very normal reasons. Employees leave organizations while their accounts remain active. Temporary contractors are removed from projects, but their access is never revoked. Test accounts created during development are forgotten afterward, and legacy systems continue carrying old credentials forward without cleanup. Now here's where the real risk begins. Instead of breaking into secure systems directly, attackers often prefer easier paths. And ghost accounts provide exactly that. They may take over dormant accounts with weak or reused passwords. They may exploit accounts that are no longer monitored. Or they may use them as low-profile entry points to avoid detection entirely. And the security risks here are serious. This can lead to undetected data breaches, privilege misuse if the account had admin-level access, and internal system compromise without triggering alerts. That's why prevention is critical. Organizations must enforce strict account lifecycle management, automatically disable inactive accounts after a defined period, perform regular access reviews, ideally quarterly, and use identity governance systems to track account activity. So the key takeaway is simple. An unused account is still a live door into your system. Now let's shift into something that affects the financial side of the internet: click fraud malware. Click fraud malware is designed to generate fake advertising interactions using bots or infected systems. Here's how it works at a high level. Malware silently runs in the background. It simulates human-like clicks on advertisements. Bot networks distribute fake traffic across regions, and infected devices unknowingly become part of fraud systems. Now, why is this such a big problem? Because the impact spreads across the entire digital ecosystem. Companies lose large portions of advertising budgets. Analytics data becomes unreliable and misleading. Advertising platforms suffer from reduced trust. And bot networks generate illegal revenue streams. The difficult part is detection. Click fraud is particularly tricky because traffic often looks very human-like. Click patterns are distributed globally, and behavior is designed to mimic real users in short bursts. So defense requires more advanced systems. Organizations rely on behavioral analytics instead of simple IP tracking, CAPTCHA and bot detection systems, advanced fraud detection at ad network level, and device fingerprinting to detect unusual patterns. So in simple terms, click fraud is not just spam, it is organized financial cybercrime. Now let's talk about something almost every user has seen or interacted with at some point: fake file extensions. This technique relies on disguising malicious files as harmless ones. A file might appear as something like document.pdf, but in reality, it could be document.pdf.exe. And if the system hides known file extensions, the user only sees document.pdf. And that is exactly where deception works. Users fall for this because familiar icons imitate trusted file types, double extensions create confusion, and social engineering techniques increase user trust. The consequences can be severe. It can lead to malware installation, a system compromise through Trojans, or credential theft and ransomware infections. That's why protection is important. Always enable file extension visibility, avoid opening unexpected attachments, scan files using antivirus before execution, and in enterprise environments, restrict execution of unknown binaries. So the core idea is, a file's name does not define its safety, its behavior does. Now finally, let's talk about something most people install without thinking twice: browser extensions. Malicious Chrome extensions are a real and growing threat. While extensions can be extremely useful, they also represent a major security risk when abused. A harmful extension may request excessive permissions beyond its purpose. It may monitor your browsing activity. It may inject ads or scripts into websites. It may steal session cookies or login credentials, or it may redirect traffic without your knowledge. And there are 3 major reasons why they are so dangerous. They run inside a trusted browser environment. They often look legitimate and useful. And they may bypass traditional antivirus detection. Now here are some warning signs. If an extension requests access to all website data unnecessarily, comes from an unknown developer or cloned source, has excessive permissions for a simple feature, or suddenly changes behavior after updates, you should be careful. To stay protected, install extensions only from trusted sources. Always review permissions before installation. Regularly audit installed extensions. Use enterprise-level browser controls where possible. And remove unused extensions immediately. So the key takeaway is, your browser extensions are as powerful as installed software. Now let's step back and connect everything we discussed. Across all these attack methods, one pattern becomes very clear. Modern cyber attacks do not always break systems directly. Instead, they exploit what is forgotten, what is trusted, or what is ignored. Hidden admin panels exploit oversights. Ghost accounts exploit neglected identity management. Click fraud malware exploits financial ecosystems. Fake file extensions exploit human perception. And malicious extensions exploit browser trust. And that leads us to one final truth. The strongest defense is not complexity. It is consistency and awareness. That means regular audits, principle of least privilege, user education, continuous monitoring, and strong authentication practices. So if we summarize everything in one line, cybersecurity is not just about building strong systems. It is about not leaving weak ones behind. Now, before we end this session, I want to give you a quick challenge. Think about this carefully. What makes ghost accounts more dangerous than active accounts? Why are hidden admin panels still found in real-world systems today? How can fake file extensions bypass user awareness so easily? What is the biggest risk of installing unknown Chrome extensions? And finally, which of these 5 attack types do you think is the hardest to detect, and why? Take a moment and answer these questions for yourself, or discuss them with someone watching this video with you. And if this breakdown helped you understand how real-world exploitation actually works, then you are already starting to think like a cybersecurity analyst. If you want to continue building that mindset, make sure to explore the rest of the Advanced Hacking, Attacks, and Exploitation playlist. And while you're at it, if you found value in this, go ahead and like this video so more people can learn from it, share it with someone who is learning cybersecurity, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive in this series. Because in cybersecurity, awareness is your first line of defense.